Hey there, it's me, Paul. Right now I'm demonstrating the asset that I'm selling on the Unity Asset Store called Genesis Code. Right now you see there's a fountain simulation in the middle. There's blocks which are moving at random positions and they stack up to kind of represent a building, I guess. And over there you see these giant spherical meteors dropping to the ground and colliding and then breaking apart into like smaller spheres. And what's interesting, all of this is actually done within one single script. Okay, now if we just pause this for a moment, I'm going to demonstrate. Over here we got the meteor object, and over here we got the code, Genesis code. We got two instances of the code in this one object. Over here you see that the code unleashes debris, and over here is the code for how it gets destroyed. For this code, you see this condition on trigger enter. What that basically means is that since this object is actually a trigger, see over here, when it collides with another object called the floor, it happens to create 20 instances of a debris object at a certain position relative to this object, which happens to be the meteor. Over here you see an English translation of all the code and all the data you've just put in. When the script is first enabled and this trigger happens to touch a game object named floor, 20 game objects, debris will be made, and such and such. Okay, let's minimize this. Over here, when it touches the floor, an action is called to destroy the meteor, which is the same object, meteor, with 100% certainty after a certain wait time. So you can see just how powerful this script is. It can also simulate sprinkler physics. So it creates droplets from like the center of the object, from the origin of the object. It can also have like something called a meteor creator, which is basically an empty game object that manages to create multiple objects over time. So over here, even though you see that it only creates one meteor, because the condition is set to always and the wait time is set to 0.5 seconds, every half second a meteor is created within a given area. Now in the case of the randomly moving building, it's actually made up of multiple components. The center is an empty game object which defines the point at which the cube or the block, you see these tiny individual blocks, the center is treated as the origin position rather than 0, 0, 0 being the origin position. The position of this object is treated as origin position. So let's look at the code. See that it always, condition set to always, and the wait time is set to 0.3 seconds. So like every single moment it's always moving to a different position, to like this minimum position, maximum position, and it treats this object, which happens to be its parent, as the origin object with 100% certainty. And then this is the object that's being teleported. See here. So you can do many kinds of things with these types of objects. You can make them teleport to different positions. You can spawn new objects. You can destroy objects, and you can manipulate objects in such a way that would have taken many scripts or lines of code to do before. Alright, now you can also change objects into different objects. So let's take the meteor prefab right now. Over here you see that it gets destroyed, or let's just disable this code right now. Over here you see that it gets destroyed. On trigger enter. Well, how about we, rather than being destroyed, we change it into a debris. We change it into a debris instance. And then let's see what happens now. Right, it changes into a simple debris object. It doesn't do the explosion animation anymore. It doesn't do that collision animation anymore. So you can change objects into different objects. All you have to do is set the old object and the new object, and the script will work fine. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can see that if you change the condition, you have this weird help box over here, and it's basically like a warning, because sometimes you end up with like some very weird results. Sometimes if you create too many objects using this always condition, the game tends to slow down. So it talks about that here. Over here, sometimes it doesn't work if it doesn't have certain conditions met. So like, both objects have to have a physics collider component, for example, and this one has to have a trigger, which we do have, but if it doesn't have a trigger, it won't work. For this one, make sure that they both have collider components, and ideally it works best when they both have a 3D rigid body. So there's different things to take note of. But pretty much that's my script. I hope you guys enjoyed this demonstration, and I'll be looking forward to your guys' feedback. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy my script.